It's a new week in the Crew Motorfest, and this week's theme is called Built to Win, and this is my summit guide. Let's go. All right, real quick before I get into it, I'm actually building a second channel if you haven't heard. It's linked in the description down below. I'm just trying to build it up. It is everything but racing. We're not doing any racing over there. Racing here, everything else over there. So when you get a second, go ahead and check that out. Let's get into it, man. The cars this week, there's a couple of cars in the Summit bundle. It's going to run you $777,000, and you get the BMW M6 GT3 along with the Z4 GT3. So 2 cars in this week's bundle. You're going to need 1 additional vehicle as well. I recommend the M Hybrid V8 number 20. You get this for getting to level 10 in your legend track. That is this right here. You go to the main stage, go down to legend track, and it's the level 10 reward. It is free. All you have to do is level up to level 10. So I recommend using that car as well. Every other car you use in the Summit is actually going to be a loan vehicle, so don't worry too much about that. The rewards this week look like this. We got 50 prestige tickets for bronze, $100,000 for silver, and a BMW M Performance M4 Racing, which by the way, you're going to use the M Performance M4 in the Summit. It'll just be a loaned version of it. And then for platinum, it's the Prohibited Dream Smoke. All right, here are the pro settings for the cars that I just mentioned, and then we'll get into the events. All right, so this is the first event, and I want to get into something that's a little bit sort of the theme for the week, which is pro racing. So if you haven't played any of the events yet, you're going to be in cockpit view for the entire Summit, except for the Feats. The Feats are not in pro racing, just the 6 events. In those events, you're not going to have any NOS. That means the parts that you're using don't really matter too much either, unless you're going to slipstream. So if you go out to slipstream with a friend or even with the AI that are here, if your goal is to do that, there's 2 tips that I want to give you. Number 1, you should put the AI on 5 of 5 difficulty so they stay with you longer and provide you with drag bump or slipstream longer in the race. That'll 100% decrease your race time. It'll definitely help you out. If you're going with a friend, your friend should be using the affixes that get you the drag bump. You should be using the ones that give you the slipstream, and the person with drag bump needs to be in front. The person with slipstream needs to be in back. That's how you should organize this. And if you really want to get like the best time for each one, you should switch the affixes and go again. But Nitrochemist does not matter. NOS affixes don't matter. And if you're really trying that hard, you're probably not watching this guide. So that's probably not going to be the case for a lot of you guys, but I just wanted to mention it because it is a strategy this week. You can put on some of the slipstream ones. Just go to your legend points, scroll down, take a look at the bonuses. There's 4 different affix that you can use. 2 that go for drag bump and 2 for slipstream. Just make sure you're coordinating that with your friend. All right. That being said, I did everything solo, and I'm going to show you my scores obviously at the end, but you can get fine scores without doing any slipstreaming, but slipstream does help. All right. Anyways, let's get into this first race. There's actually going to be 3 cars that you're using, but the lap is basically the same on all 3 cars because it's not really changing. So this one is on a track, and it's not really, man, there's a lot of stuttering in this recording. Jesus, let's go forward a little bit here. See if we have that in the other car. All right, a little bit more stable here at the other side of the video. It's weird. It was very stuttery. Anyway, the lap is basically the same. There are no cuts. There's nothing you should do, like, you know, that's going to give you a huge advantage. Just keep the car planted. Don't lose traction, and do your best to maximize your racing lines, just like you're seeing here. Close to the apex. On this corner here, you can gutter if you want. I didn't in this particular clip, but what I recommend is making sure you're just stable. Just keep the car stable and keep it accelerating. That's basically it. So let's move on. All right, race number 2 is basically the same thing. There's not a whole lot to talk about here. You basically want to just keep the car stable and accelerating, and you want to hit the lines that you can. So I'm just going to let this particular lap play out, and then I'll be back to talk about the next race. All right, the next race is with the M Hybrid. It's on the Red Bull track. There's a couple of things I would recommend on this one, and one of them happens here at the clear, you know, wall ride that you do. Let me fast forward here. I would say keep this blue line within your vision. So right here, I'm a little bit too low on the wall. If you go a little bit higher on the wall and you can see this blue line, you kind of just line it up with the roof of your car, and then that kind of tells you exactly where to be in the wall. But I basically just left it where it was there. See how you can't really see it too much? You can also line it up visually with this blue line on the left side, just to give yourself an idea of where you are on the wall, because this is a completely blind turn. You're literally just on the wall ride until you can see, which happens right about there. You start to get your vision back. So, like I said, just try to use visual cues there. Also, when we go fast forward to here at 25%, I like to hit this like full speed and then drift to the right. I just like doing that. I feel like it's a little bit faster. Now you can slow down and take it normally, but I got a pretty decent time. But I feel like that's definitely a nice strategy to do. Outside of that, there's not really a whole lot of cuts. Everything else is just staying on the track. Let me make sure. Actually, there is one reset. So let's go over to here. They're going up the big Red Bull hill. At the end of this hill, you go straight to the checkpoint and reset. If you don't know how to reset, turn off rewind in your difficulty settings and then press the same like rewind button. It'll reset you. You need to hit this gutter here, which I believe I missed. And then I think that's it. Let me see. Yep. Gutter, and we're at the finish line. So that's it. Only a couple little tricks. Let's move on. All right, the next race is possibly the most annoying race in the bunch. This car does not gutter like hardly at all. It takes a lot to keep it there. And so because of that, this is going to be a frustrating one for you. In fact, I kind of recommend for those of you that are not real good at guttering, let me pause it because there's a wall right here. If you're not real good at guttering, I would say just avoid them completely. Just brake normally, take the turn normally. Guttering might slow you down, especially if you end up losing traction, which is possible with this car. Anyways, this turn here at 10%, you're going to wall ride. And then go ahead and accelerate out in second gear. Now, these are all gutter turns. Like I said, if you're not guttering fast, then it's slower to do it. So don't do it if you can't do it. Let me fast forward to the front here. See if there's any... I don't think there's any cuts necessarily. Oh, there is a cut actually down the hill. So like I said, this is all just staying on the road and using these gutters. You're just using gutters if you can to get through this course. Anyways, let me fast forward here. Coming down the hill, I believe it is. Let's see. Right here. Okay, so at 63%, you're going to be rounding this corner. You can just go just like straight across, basically straight towards the checkpoint. And just start to veer a little bit to the right after that, though, because the road goes to the right. And then this one, you can kind of cut to the grass a little bit as well. I think that's it, though. There's a couple of corner cuts you can do, actually. Right here at 83, you can cut this corner. You can go... I went a little bit wide. Let me go back here. I went a little bit wide. You can go through this porch here. As long as you don't contact the main building, you're fine, but you can go through this porch. It's breakable. And then after this one, you get down here to this right-hander. You can do the same thing. You can like, well, don't hit the porch because that's not breakable. But you can cut this corner like super hard. Here's how I ended up doing it. I slowed down a little bit too, because if you do it too fast, you'll end up in the grass there. All right. That is it for this one. Let's move on. All right, this race is a pretty long one, so I'm going to let this third lap play out so you can see the full lap. And I've just realized I didn't turn my face cam back on, so you're not going to get any face cam for those last two events. I'll turn it back on for the next one. I'm really good at this, by the way, making content. Anyway, here is this third lap. You can pay attention to the lines, and I'll be back in just a moment. All right, and the last event is this one here with the M4. So this recording turned out really bad. I'm not sure what happened, but my computer just really didn't want to record this. So I apologize about the framiness of the video. Let's get through it. There's a couple of different lines that I want to show you. The first one is right up here. So this is like, I don't know, a quarter of the way through the lap. I cut as close to this building as possible. I downshift into third, and then I make the turn as short as possible here. And then when I go this way, I go close to the silo there. And then when I come out of this ravine here, I downshift into fourth and half throttle across this dirt to make sure I don't slip. And that one I actually did slip a little bit. Cut close to this wall on the left. Again, close to the wall on the left. And then right here, cut across right here. Oh my God, it's so framey. It's hard to watch. All right, anyway, that's it. That's the full lap. It's a very short lap, but those are the little tricks that you need to know. All right, let's move on to the feats. All right, first up, the slaloms. You just need to have parts on your car. It does not matter which car you take, which car you use. It does not matter. Just make sure you have your score breaker parts with your skilled affix. If you have that, you're solid. You can do it very slow. You'll still get a very, very good score. So just make sure you have those parts. And you're going to have to do it, I believe, in racing. And I think it has to be a BMW as well. So anyways, that is it for both of the slaloms. Let's move on to the escape. All right, for the escape, make sure you back up and get a nice head start or a running start. You can use as much NOS as you want leading up to it. Just make sure right before you get there, you pause and unpause, so you get your NOS back. So here's where you're going to go. You're going to go straight. And when you get to this sign, you're going to continue straight and slow down for this corner, which I did not do very well. And then just keep going down this road. You're going to take the bridge that goes across to the other island. And then there's one spot once you get... Oh, wait, there is a spot here. You can jump over this. Go this way to the left of this big tree here and back onto the road. It saves you a ton of time. When you get to this, let's see, this guy right here, you're going to go right, this roundabout. You go right. Oh my God, it's so framey. My computer did not want to record this video. Anyway, you go right there and then keep going and you'll get, you know, a decent score. This will give you almost a full score, what I just did there, which is only 7,000 yards. All right, that's it. All right, here are my final scores. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions about this, don't hesitate to send me a DM on Instagram or Discord. I read every single message that comes my way. I will catch you on the next one. Trigger out.